All right, we are back on MorningLine. Thanks for joining us this morning. Derrick Rhol's with us. You're with the Sudekum Planetarium. You're the manager, right?
I am.
Planetarium at the Adventure Science Center. And obviously, we're talking about the Eclipse. We're here on the Plus. You can call us. You see the number on the screen. Or you can follow us right now on Facebook at newschannel5.com. And if you want to message us a couple questions, I'll hit some of those. And we've got a few. One individual was asking, what about watching with your cell phone or a camera or taking pictures? And is it safe if you're viewing it through a camera? What about that?
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky. One of the biggest challenges is, especially if you've got a really nice camera, one of those DSLRs, that's collecting a lot of light. So the best way to think of it is you're collecting this much sunlight, and if you look through the eyepiece, you're focusing that much sunlight into your pupil. That's a really bad recipe.
Very dangerous.
So there are filters that you can buy that are ready-made for this. If you haven't purchased them yet, it might be a little bit late to get them shipped. But honestly, if you haven't seen a total solar eclipse yet, the best thing that you can do is just look up and take it in. Don't spend the whole time with your eyepiece. The brightness is going to change so fast that you'll miss it.
Yeah, and again, looking up with your glasses to protect yourself. This is an interesting one. I've done some research on this. Tina's asking on Facebook, what about our pets? Okay, obviously, my dogs are running around the yard. I'm really not worried about it because I don't see them, unlike humans who are curious, looking up. They'll notice, though.
Dogs, yeah. And
cats.
One of the big things is dogs will notice that it's dark. They will notice that all of a sudden it feels like nighttime right in the middle of the day.
They're going to think it's dinner time. My pugs are going to be ready for their treat that we give them at night. In the afternoon.
There you go. Keep it ready, right? Drop it down from.
But should you worry about the safety at all? I mean, cats, dogs. I mean, the truth is, the harmful solar radiation will damage the retina of any eye in any creature if you stare at it.
It will. So humans are the really curious ones. We're the ones who are going to obsess over the fact that the sun looks like a crescent for a couple of hours on that day. If you're nervous about your pet, especially if you're nervous about that change in routine for your pet, that's almost the more stark contrast. Is that this shakes up what your pet is used to. Just keep the pet inside. It's just easier that way.
It's safe that way. The other thing they say you may hear with other animals in general is that cows and horses, livestock might think it's evening and start making their way to the barn. Okay. Yeah. They say I've got beehives. I keep bees, and when that happens, the bees will head back to the hive because they'll think it's nighttime. And then they also say you may start hearing frogs and crickets start chirping, thinking it's dusk.
Yeah, and there are all sorts of stories about this. One of the really cool things is that over time, people have passed down all of these stories about animals, and a lot of verbal stories have been passed down, but not a lot of research has been done. Not a lot of data has been gathered. So there's actually I think it's free. It's an app called iNaturalist, and they have a project called Life Responds. And so you could get this on your phone. People all across the country, what they're saying is 30 minutes before totality, choose an animal that you see, write down what it's doing. At totality, write down again, and 30 minutes after, write it down. And it's a citizen science project, so they'll take thousands of observations from all across the country and create the first ever body of data so that we can learn about this.
On their behavior, whatever it may be. They may not do anything different, or they may actually react. I think that's an awesome thing. All right, so what's it called again? The
iNaturalist.
iNaturalist. Thanks for mentioning it. Let's take a few calls, too. Let's go to Mike. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, Nick. How are you this morning?
Good, Mike. What's on your mind?
First of all, I was out there Tuesday. I just want to tell the gentleman that his staff and everybody out there did a fantastic job keeping that line moving and keeping everybody happy. I was very pleased. One of the best line standing experiences I've ever been encountered.
That's saying a lot.
We aim to please, even if it's just your time in line. We appreciate that.
My question is, I'm going to be hooking a DSLR up to my telescope. I couldn't find solar filters. The garage, they're sold out. And so what I'm going to do is hook up 2 polarizing filters and 2 UV filters. Do you think that will be covering me? Because I tried to get some solar film, and believe it or not, it's gone from $56 a sheet to $275 a sheet. Now, that's 4 days ago. It may have gone up another $25 or $50 again. But you think I'll be covered with those filters?
We've been recommending against polarizing filter. One of the challenges is, especially if you've got multiple polarized films, depending on the angle between them, you're actually allowing different amounts of light through, and so that really changes. It makes it really hard to calculate. One little word of caution, and I'm sorry, you probably won't like this, but is just like you can do damage to the retina at the back of your eye, if you accidentally let too much light through that film, you can actually burn that CCD chip inside your DSLR. And so we've been recommending, especially if you haven't seen a total solar eclipse before, the best thing you can possibly do is to take it in yourself. And I just tell people, go on Google 5 minutes afterwards, just grab someone else's photo and say, hey, look what I just saw.
Maybe professionals who have done it a long time, and they've done other eclipses, so they know how to set up for it.
Yeah, and the best pictures that you see online are actually coming from people who have seen 5, 6, 7 eclipses, and so their whole focus is to take an army of 5 or 6 cameras all at once and gather just all the pictures they possibly can. But if you haven't seen one before, just experience it yourself and do some photos a little bit later on.
Okay, and again, as you said, with regard to using your cell phone, if you just want to record it and put it up, I think the same argument. We touched on it. We keep getting comments on, can we do it on the phone? Can we do it on the phone?
Yeah, now the phone, it's a smaller aperture, so you've got that going for you at least. But if you look at the warnings on the back of these, they say, don't look for more than 3 minutes at a time. You're not going to want to look for more than 3 minutes at a time as a human. Even adults don't have that attention span.
Especially these. What about welder's glasses?
Welder's glasses are really tricky. There is a certain number that you have to be at that number or darker. And so I don't like to recommend them because all you have to do is misremember which number we say, and oops, you're either letting too much light through or blocking too much, and then you don't get to see it.
Sunglasses, no.
No, not even if 2 or 3.
Clarify this, because some people think that maybe when the eclipse occurs like this, that the rays that are emitted from the sun and the moon as they converge are somehow more powerful than they typically are. That's not true. It is the same rays from the sun that we're going to have on a sunny day in the middle of summer. The bottom line is, when it's a real nice, hot, sunny day, I don't sit there and stare at the sun. If I try to do that, I can look for a second or two. I turn away, it's too bright, it hurts. So explain why it is you're able to look at those rays. They're not more powerful, but you're kind of seduced into looking because it's dimmer.
Yes, and so you've got the iris on your eye regulating how much light comes into it. So as the sky gets darker, your eyes are noticing that it's darker. They're letting more light in. The problem is, as they're letting more light in, we're humans, we're curious. We don't normally see the sun as a crescent in the sky, and so you can actually look up to the sky and see this crescent. Our curiosity takes over.
And at that moment, you could be just frying your retina, but you're not feeling any pain, and you're looking and it's okay, and it doesn't look bad, and you don't feel like you have to turn away. I mean, you're going to look at the crescent and you go, wow, I can see that. Isn't that cool? What's happening?
Yeah, so imagine you're causing sunburn on the back of your retina, if you will.
And again, you're not feeling it while it happens. It's pain-free.
Right, you won't feel it while it happens. It will be a lot of discomfort coming your way down the line, just as you deal with some of the aftermath of that. But that's one of the big things here is you don't feel pain on your retina. The damage is being done, and you won't feel it happen. But to your point, the sun is no more dangerous than on any other day. It's just that you're going to want to look at it. Really important. The most concise thing I can tell people is your eyes should never see the surface of the sun. So that's why you can use those glasses to protect you from the surface of the sun, or you can look indirectly, then you're not looking at the surface of the sun. And here's the key thing, during totality, the moon's in the way. You don't see the surface of the sun. So just avoid that surface of the sun. Even when 1% of the sun is left, that's 10,000 times brighter than the full moon.
Wow. All right, let's take a break on that note. When we come back, more calls, more of your comments. If you have any questions or observations you want to share, we're also streaming live right now at newschannel5.com on Facebook. So hit that up. We'll be taking a break. Be back with more right after this. All right.
This is a story.